Hey guys, my name is Priscilla Elias and today I'll give you 8 composition tips to improve your photo game straight away. There are many different elements we look in a photo in order to like it or not, even if for many people this is done in a subconscious level. Composition is one of the most important aspects of photography, and it'll make your photography better no matter what you're shooting with. It can be with a $5,000 camera, or it can be with your phone. So pay attention to these tips and start practicing to use them, and you'll see how much your photography will improve. So tip number 1, symmetry. You might not know this, but you're crazy about symmetry. We all are. Well, unless you're an alien or something like that. I'm just kidding. But really, unless you're very different from most people, you love symmetry, know it or not. A photo with a symmetrical background or symmetry of any kind throughout the photo will look a lot more interesting to the eyes than one that's not symmetric. Here's a quick example of a before and after I edited to increase symmetry in a photo. Now, tell me which one catches your attention the most? Which one do you like the best? Tip number 2, frame your photo inside your frame. Finding a way to position your subject inside a frame in your photo is always a great way of composing an image. When you do this, you kind of show the viewer where to look at, as the frame itself points to the subject. And you can use pretty much anything to do this. Poles, corridors, walls, people, plants, any objects in general. So start thinking of finding frames to include in some of your photos and you'll see how much nicer they'll get. Tip number 3, leading lines. If you use the lines from the environment where you're taking your photo to lead to your subject, you'll make much more impressive photos. And this happens because it's almost like you're saying, hey, I'm pointing to this, please look here, this is where you should look at. So if you use the architecture or whatever is behind your subject in a way the lines converge to him or her, you've got one more composition skill to make your photos go boom, crazy good. Tip number 4, isolate the subject with depth of field. I love to talk about this one. As a matter of fact, I think this is the 3rd video out of 10 or 12 I ended up mentioning this on this channel. But you see, it's just because I love it and this is how important it is. Use your depth of field to make your subject stand out. Create depth by placing your subject further from the background and shooting it in, I don't know, 1.4, 1.8, 2.8, 3.5 max, depending on your lens and on the amount of depth you want. The bokeh background is always pleasing to anyone's eyes and is a must talk about tip when it comes to composition. Tip number 5, textures and patterns. Usually it's easy for our eyes to find beauty in patterns and textures. If you focus on this when you're shooting an image, you're most likely going to take very nice photos. It's like looking to an organized house. So try this out. You can find patterns and textures in a plant, in birds flying, in your clothes, in the hair of an animal, in humans' eyes, in a wall, probably somewhere around your own house. Just look closely at things. Use your super eye macro view and start, look further and closer. The next 2 tips I'll give are contrary to one another, but both work well if you decide which one to go for. So one of them is fill the frame. Put your subject entirely in the photo with a close-up, for example. And then the next tip is the opposite. Create negative space. Place your subject in a small area of your photo, better if you place it in one of the imaginary lines of the rule of thirds, and then keep the rest of the photo simple and minimal. That will completely draw the viewer's attention to the subject and will create a light, pleasing image to look at. Oh, if you don't know what the rule of third is, I explain what it is and how it works on the video that will be linked up here, and for which I'll also leave the link in the description. Tip number 8, color combinations. You might be wondering, how the heck will I combine colors? I have no idea on how to do that. Well, good news for you. You don't need to be a color expert to know what goes together. If you just go to Adobe Colors, and I'll leave the link for it in the description, you'll see that there are several ways to combine colors together. And you can both create complex colors combination or just go with simple ones with monochromatic looks, for example. And by the way, yellow and purple, they're complementary colors, so they go well together. I mean, they should. What do you think? Now, you might be thinking, what if I don't have the chance to match colors? What if I shoot portraits and my subject wears something that doesn't fit the environment's color? Well, then you have two options. One, you change some of the colors later in post-production, or two, you use, for example, the fill the frame tip to get close-ups in a way the colors in your photo will match, or you look around and find those particular small places you had not thought about using to photograph, but that will end up fitting perfectly with the colors he or she is wearing. In other words, keep this in mind and just be open to think out of the box. Just keep your mind and eyes open to everything that surrounds you, and you will find the perfect matching compositions. They're always there somewhere, sometimes hidden in little corners of the streets. And the last tip I have for you today is the rule of space. The rule of space is simply the act of adding visual space in front of the direction of the subject in your photo is facing or moving towards. When you create this space and point your subject to that direction, it also leads the viewer to look the same way, and it makes the photo more interesting to be appreciated. Well, enough for today, huh? I hope you guys get to practice some of these tips and that you will let me know if they helped you somehow. No excuse, huh? You don't have a camera, just grab your phone and start trying it out, because I'm absolutely sure you'll get impressed by the results. You like this video? It is massively important at this point that you hit the like button, subscribe to this channel, and click the notify button so you will know when I release new videos. If you do this, YouTube algorithm will understand this video is helping you out and will deliver it to more and more people. And that is what I need in order to be able to keep creating content for you. So thanks so much for watching this. I'll see you in the next video. Ciao!